Hi, everybody, and welcome to Unified, a podcast feed from First Church Belmont Unitarian Universalist. We'll be sharing sermons and stories, especially thematic content made new every week. We're so glad you're here, and for more information about who we are and opportunities to grow and deepen, swing by the church on Sundays or check out our website at uubelmont.org. And for now, enjoy this new content.
My name is Kyle Belmont, and I am your intern minister this year. And from one Belmont to another, let me say it is good to be with you in this shared garden of community. It is, of course, a noticeable coincidence that my last name happens to be Belmont, and this is First Church Belmont. And during our time together, with me as your intern minister and you as my teaching congregation, let us not lose the humor in this. But even in the humor, the name Belmont is tender for me. This is the name given to me from my father and his family, and this is a father whom I do not have a relationship with anymore. He chose to leave, but he did not take everything with him. He left behind this name. He left behind this name and some people. And the people who remained, my mother and my two brothers, we got to decide what to do with this name. We got to decide what it meant to be a Belmont. This took some time for each of us. We struggled. We could be there for each other, but we also didn't always know what that meant. It took us many years as a family to become who we are. I am a Belmont, proudly so, because the version of this name that I identify with is one shaped with the people who I love. So in the year ahead we have together, let us find the humor in how I, a Belmont, ended up here in Belmont. And let us remember, too, that we get to shape this name. And there is much more beyond my name that shapes me and that I care about as well. I am shaped by a childhood in coastal New Hampshire, where I went to a Catholic school and church. I was an altar server who grew to love ritual. What I see in ritual is the formation of roots for us as individuals and communities. Ritual gives us something to be tethered by. In times of angst or sorrow, in times of joy and in celebration, ritual can help us remain connected. The ritual of the chalice lighting, for example, offers a certain brightness, not just physically, but also spiritually. To me, it is a ritual of invitation that connects with the strings of existence that run through me, that run through all of us, and reminds me to tune those strings just so. I am a believer in the spiritual humanist sense that my faith is about what connects us, in rituals that remind us of our connection to one another, whether one individual to another individual or one community to another community. These are rituals that sustain me, that tether me, that provide not just the foundation, but the ground in which a foundation is poured. I became a UU during college. My first venture into Unitarian Universalism took place around the winter solstice. And during this service, we prayed to the gods of the north, south, east, and west. As a person raised Catholic, I was perplexed. I remember thinking, how strange, just how different this is. But many months later, I was invited back, and that's when it clicked for me. That's when the spirit of sustenance settled down in me. During that service, there was a reading from Dr. Seuss. And I don't remember the specific story, but I remember thinking that if a children's story could be the center of worship, that's where I belonged. And that a children's story had so much impact on me in that UU service is not surprising to me at all. I am someone who gravitates towards the playful side of interactions. I can be deeply serious, but I also love to shape places and spaces that might best be described as lighthearted. And light not as a pejorative, not as something lacking, but light as in gentle and soft, light as in easier to lift. Theologically, I am informed by experience and connection. I find guidance in the words and thinking of Howard Thurman. If you read what I offered in this week's Unitarian, you'll remember that I mentioned him. And you might remember that I wrote how during my first week at seminary at Boston University, I was assigned a locker. And in that locker just happened to be a piece of paper that had on it a picture of Howard Thurman and one of his meditations. When I first saw that piece of paper, I did not know how meaningful the words of Thurman would become for me. In a 1958 sermon, for example, he gave me words for something that other writers and theologians have offered too, but Thurman's words settled into me. They became alive in me. And these are words about what Thurman calls the third component. And what Thurman means by this is the space between people, between communities, individuals, collectives. Inherently neutral, the third component becomes charged by the contributions we put into it. There's a space between us. There's a space between you and me, your intern minister. We have this year ahead of us to constantly adjust and try out what the space between means. I will build into that space, as you will also build into that space. It is a shared space that we hold, and hopefully it is balanced. But from time to time, one or another might carry just that much more. And through this year, we will be Belmont, or Belmonts. We will collaborate on what a name means to us. This garden which we share, this community, becomes that much more alive when we give into it. And with the entire church year ahead of us, I am thrilled to call you, to be with you, and to call you my teaching congregation. And that'll be true for the rest of my time. And so from one Belmont to another, it is good to be with you.
This is Unending Love by Rabbi Rami Shapiro. We are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved by an unending love. Supported by hands that uplift us even in the midst of a fall, we are urged on by eyes that meet us even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved by an unending love. Embraced, touched, soothed, counseled, our arms, our fingers, our voices, ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. I love this poem for a few reasons. I especially love the idea that ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. We are how this unending love is made manifest over and over, showing up for one another, helping build the world we know can be. This fall, our theme is invitation. We have 3 themes again this year, which we will explore here in worship, with our worship committees hosted potlucks and in our small groups, among other ways. And one of the beautiful things about First Church is that you are invited here always to show up, with all that you are, to show up with the fullness of your lives, with all that is weighing you down and lifting you up. But the invitation is not the end. You are also invited to help shape who we are together, to show up and dig in and help build this loving community. And this is always a good thing, a nourishing thing, a life-giving thing, but it is especially important now, in this complex time, with the violence in the Middle East still ratcheting up, with the divisive and disturbing rhetoric here in this country growing more ugly and more extreme. It matters even more that we are here, that we refuse to be discouraged and disconnected, that we refuse to swallow the lie that there is no hope. We do not build bunkers and prepare to hide, though if you have, tell me where, just in case. But instead, we pour ourselves into this sacred time. We celebrate the power of generations gathered together, children who are not our children, but whose thriving and flourishing is very much our business. Parents of school-age kids in the teeth of challenging times whose struggles are all of our struggles. Those approaching retirement or in the flow of that vibrant and powerful final act of life, finding ways to serve, exploring what this new chapter holds. Here we are, all together, choosing love, choosing connection, choosing to show up and dig in, choosing to serve the world. I am so grateful for this good beginning. So grateful for Martha beginning, for all she will build here, along with her wonderful religious education committee, fully staffed and meeting for the first time tomorrow night. I'm so grateful for all they will build, especially grateful for all the rest of us who will say yes when Martha comes and the committee recruits us. We'll be hearing more about her vision and plans in the coming weeks. We are surrounded today and always by an unending love. And more than surrounded, we are that love made manifest. We are its arms and fingers and voices, here and now, this year. So welcome, and consider yourselves invited to the building of a new way and a new world. Consider yourselves invited to a deepening and widening spiritual path. Consider yourselves invited. We are so glad you are here. Amen.